Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We hope it is good, and welcome to another edition of Geeks Who Like Sports. It is season 2, episode 7, and as always, I am Ray Carsillo in beautiful Los Angeles, California. Doing my best friend, the entire world over in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Lee Elias. Lee, how are you doing this weekend? Look at that fancy sign behind you.
I know. The first thing we got to do is, for those of you listening, we got new Geeks Who Like Sports signage for the podcast from our good friends over at ultimatehockeyfans.com. Ray's holding up his roundel. These light up, remote controlled. This isn't an ad. I actually just wanted to share these because he does custom wall art with NHL teams, with your pictures. He does ceiling fans. It sounds a little bit like an ad now, but I'm just excited about it because we're geeks. Ray's holding up his. It's lighting. It looks like the power of the sun in his hand. We're going to get that on your wall next week. Oh, you got strobe going there.
Yeah, you can do strobe, you can do a fast strobe, slow strobe. Yeah, the remote control. At least says it came too late for me to get it hung up for this episode, but we will have it ready to go.
Yes. Mine
soon.
Is up on set. We should say, good friend of mine, Paul Cohen, owns that company, ultimatehockeyfans.com. Not to start the episode off on something like that, but if you can see this episode, you can see that it looks awesome. If you're listening, go check that website out if you're looking for a gift for the holiday, because he makes extremely high quality, fully licensed stuff. Now, Ray, you asked me how I was doing. I like to start episodes with a little story for you, little gifts, things that you can't reach through your screen and grab. One, I have a Wawa Philadelphia soft pretzel in my hand, and these are the best of the best soft pretzels from Wawa, because everything from Wawa, for those of you who don't know what Wawa is, it's like a local convenience store on the East Coast. It's Wawa, and Wawa has pizza now, Ray, which they've spent $1 billion advertising everywhere around the city. In fact, there's so many jokes about it now. People are saying, "What's your password?" Oh, Wawa has pizza, or caption this photo, Wawa has pizza. But when I'm done my pretzel, Ray, there may be crumbs on my desk. So I will use my new desktop mini Zamboni vacuum that our producer Caitlin got me, which I'm holding up right now, to just zam over my, which is a Super Mario Brothers, a mouse desktop gaming pad here, thus proving I am such a geek. And it's fine by me. It's the way it's got to go. I'm going to eat this pretzel silently while you talk a lot during the episode, but there may be points when you're listening today. Ray goes, "Lee, what do you think?" Well, football.
So the question now is if Wawa has pizza,
they do.
Do they put the pizza on the pretzels at any point?
You can do whatever you want with it. It's funny, Ray. I went in there. So look, Wawa food is incredibly satisfying food for the price that it's at. Yes. Right. Everybody knows exactly what I mean. It's 7-Eleven, but better, right? It's Sheetz, but better, depending on where you're at. Quick check, but better. It's just a really high quality kind of convenience store. And it's funny. I went to the clerk and I said, I went up to him and said, "Hey, be honest with me. How's the pizza?" And he goes, "I'm going to be honest with you. It's pizza from Wawa. How do you think it is?" And I said, "That answered my question." And it is exactly that. It's like, you're going to pay for this pizza. You're going to get a pizza from Wawa. It's going to fill you up. You're going to know what it is. It's not the most gourmet pizza. It's not the most worst pizza. It's pizza from Wawa. And Wawa has pizza. What I would do, Ray, if you want to do, I would just kind of smash the pretzel into the pizza and flip the cheese up. That's how I would make a pizza.
Well, because that's a big thing. That's a big thing now, especially out here. Everybody wants pretzel bread pizza and all the other stuff. So it just feels like
there's a lot of carbs.
I get it. I'm not a particular fan of it, but I'm just saying that that's a big thing right now. So I was wondering.
Well, another big thing right now, Ray, is that I've been lactose intolerant for a couple of years. I'm working on finding the right mix of lactase enzymes to take so that I might once again enjoy what really is the greatest food on the planet Earth, pizza. But I can tell you right now, I'd be willing to try a slice of pizza from Wawa. But I'm going to go right to the best Italian joint in town if I'm ever going to actually really try this. Because if I'm going to have 3 slices and have a mind, numbing experience that night, amongst other things, it's going to be from a really good pizza place.
Totally fair. Totally understand.
I don't want to dive into this any more than I just did. So let's just.
I think we've expanded this. Well, if
Wawa has pizza.
Wawa has pizza. If Wawa wants to sponsor us, we are we're mostly local.
We're local.
Not local.
We're local. We are local. There's Wawas in not there.
No, not here. It's definitely not here in LA.
LA couldn't handle Wawa. It's too convenient.
LA is finally just handling Dunkin' Donuts. So I mean,
it's too convenient for LA. LA would complicate it too much. Like, why is there 2 W's in the name? Like, what? And
Yeah. Just call it, be like, wow, just pretend they're a branch off of Erewhon.
It should be called Lala. Lala has pizza.
Just say they're a spinoff of Erewhon or something or whatever, and everybody will go there. It'd be fantastic.
It's true. Yeah. We have low carb pizza. No, you don't. It's made from cauliflower.
They don't
never
know
come here again.
People don't know better.
Yeah.
Cauliflower pizza is not good. Anyway,
not
it's not. Yeah. So anyway,
cheese on it.
Before we do get into the show, also want to quickly mention, of course, we got some new stuff, but there's also, this is going to be your last chance for you to possibly get some new stuff. Go to our Instagram, give us a follow, give us a like, go check out the post we made a few weeks ago about giving away some t-shirts. This is your last chance. We're going to be closing this contest soon, and we're going to then announce the winners and send out the t-shirts and whatnot before the holiday. So be sure, if you have not yet tried to enter the contest for a free Geeks Who Like Sports t-shirt, and supposedly, and Lee's also, I think, still giving away headsets. I'm not sure, but there they are. If you're watching the show, there it is. There's the headset. So yeah, our grand prize winner will get a headset along with the t-shirt. So go to the Geeks Who Like Sports Instagram. We got two. That's right. He's also giving away the Spider-Man one. That's right. You are correct, sir. So yeah, go to the Instagram. It's GWLS Podcast on Instagram. Also that on Twitter, I do believe. Go follow us. Go give us some likes and whatnot. And yeah, there's the shirt there. Lee's holding it up. If you are watching the show, you can see what the shirt looks like. It is a really nice shirt, folks. It's a really, really nice shirt. So we don't do anything half-ass here. Well, they don't do anything half-ass over there. I am the king of half-ass.
Yep,
so
we're not Wawa.
Yeah, but
Geeks has t-shirts.
Geeks has t-shirts. Wawa has pizza. Geeks Who Like Sports has t-shirts. You know what the NFL has, Lee? As he's taking a bite of his Wawa pretzel, I'll tell you, Lee. I'll tell you what the NFL has.
Tell me,
NFL,
my lord, what does the NFL have?
The NFL has a primetime problem. The NFL, now we know a few years ago they started instituting the flex games, which was a great thing for the NFL, and it makes a lot of sense. It was very innovative. Smart. Yes. My suggestion is they need to expand the primetime flex scheduling, because we are at the halfway point of the season. And I can tell you right now, there are not many games to look forward to in the primetime schedule. And this week was the perfect example of just how terrible it can get. The 1-8 Panthers took on the now 3-7 Bears. We had the 3-5 Broncos versus the now 5-5 Bills. I believe we're 5-4. I believe 5-5 actually after the loss. Yeah, the Broncos are now 4-5. The Bills are now 5-5. That was Monday Night Football, and we had the now 4-5 Jets versus the now 5-5 Raiders for Sunday Night Football. So a whole bunch. So basically, every team going into this, except for Buffalo, was below 500 or at or below 500 when the night started, when these games started, and this is Week 10 of the NFL season. Lee, this is a problem because if you're not a fan of these teams, why on God's green earth are you going to watch these football games?
Well, and let's break down what like primetime football games are. There's usually just one, right? Sometimes there's a doubleheader, but it's usually just one game.
It's usually Thursday, Sunday, and Monday.
Yeah, it's like a game of the week style broadcast, right?
Yeah.
So like this is how my brain works. I try and dissect the problem, right? So the first thing I go to is, okay, would the teams or the players have a problem being flexed to 8 Eastern? And my answer off the top of my head is just no. It's extra rest. It's extra time to prepare. I can't see any reason why a team would not want to play as late as possible in the week. I'm thinking on the Sunday night game right now. Okay.
Yeah.
The Thursday night game is a totally different kind of monster in itself.
Yeah, there's a rule. There was a rule with the last collective bargaining agreement where this was a little bit of a problem with every team has to have a Thursday night game.
Right, and I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with that. Yeah, I'm talking like the Sunday night. It still
sucks though that they put the Panthers and Bears this late in the season.
Yeah,
knowing that if you know football, neither of these teams were probably going to be decent at this point.
So here's the deal. My point is that if every team has to play Thursday night, every team has to play Thursday night. So like, I don't look at it like it's a primetime problem on that night. It's going to happen, right? That's how the schedule is. You really can't change a Thursday night game and flex it anywhere. So
no, you can't flex it. But I think at the beginning of the season, you look and be like, you know what? From week 10 onwards or week 11 onwards, it's divisional matchups.
Well, but I could also make a great argument that those teams would definitely not want that. They don't want the short week. They don't want,
those
so
games might matter more. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm just saying, I can see how that one could be just, okay, this is how it is, deal with it. With the Sunday night primetime game, which is the game of the week typically, right? Or right now it's NBC. I think players would want to play as late as possible. So I don't think that's a problem. Then it comes down to the money involved in that. And like, who's getting the money and where is the money going? At the end of the day, the NFL needs to make money. You get more money if you get more viewership because the advertising costs go up. I don't know why they're not flexing more often this time of the year. Now, again, there's the other thing too of like, if the Eagles are playing the Cowboys at 4:25 on a Sunday, do I want to wait for the game to be over at 11 p.m.? I mean, there's a lot of different reasons they might not do it, but I think if it's your premier game and you're going to have the largest audience, you need to have a great matchup. And I think there's plenty on the West and East side of the country to be able to fulfill that. But yeah, they should be flexing like crazy right now. Even if it's a great team versus a bad team, so you can see the great team, right?
I mean, well, that's the thing. Like right now, next week's game is Vikings Broncos. Broncos are 4-5. Vikings are 6-4.
Yeah, it's a mediocre game.
They're both mediocre. And look, I'm not going to say like Eagles Chiefs on Monday night is going to be a barn burner, right? Thursday night, Bengals Ravens, as we talk about divisional matchups, that's going to be a barn burner. Right. But then you've got Steelers and Browns, a divisional game. They're both 6-3. The winner of that likely makes the playoffs.
Right.
Why is that not replacing Vikings and Broncos?
Yeah.
Why not? Let's even go further. You know the schedule. At this point. Let's go further. Okay, the Thanksgiving week is a little wonky because of obviously
you can give them some leeway. Cowboys have to play Thursday.
Teams.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Cowboys have to play on Thursday. Lions have to play. Niners, Seahawks, which is now the third Thursday game, is going to be a great game. But right now it's Ravens and Chargers. Jaguars and Texans could be for the division.
Right.
Like the Jaguars are right now winning the division by a game over the Jaguars. Steelers and Bengals, again, another great matchup. I get if you were to flex the Steelers the week prior, you're not going to do it 2 weeks in a row. But those are both better matchups than Ravens Chargers.
We should say the best matchup coming up is Monday Night Football. Eagles are playing the Chiefs on the 20th.
Yeah,
I mean, that's going to be a great game. But that's the point, right? Like that's a Super Bowl rematch. That deserves a primetime audience.
Sure, absolutely. But again, we go to week 13. Chiefs and Packers. The Packers are 3-6.
Well, how about the Eagles are playing the Niners on December 3rd. That should be flexed to the 8:00 game. That is
100%.
That is an easy one.
That is exactly. That is right now the 4:00 Fox game.
And what's funny about it is the following week, the primetime game is Eagles Cowboys, which is probably somewhat worthy of it. But the Eagles Niners game has way more implications right now.
Yeah.
So it's
two teams fighting for the 1 seed. It's
the only other thing, Ray, is just travel things and hotels and planes but like you're flexing 2 teams. It's not like you're flexing the whole league. I mean, maybe 4 teams technically, but it's just.
But even that, it's not even for the travel for the teams at that point. If you're flexing a Sunday afternoon game to a Sunday evening,
you're right.
You're really just talking about network stuff at that point because you're talking about like obviously NBC is the one who then has to like, oh, now we're gonna go to Dallas instead of we're gonna go to Philly instead of Minnesota or wherever they were going, or Kansas City or whatever. Which again, nobody's gonna be crying over the fact that poor NBC has to change their flight schedule. Wah. Like
there's some people that argue with that, but yes.
Yeah, well, those people, I'm sorry. Nobody really cares about the big billionaire networks. Oh no.
Yeah, I know.
So I don't know. I think the NFL needs to expand. The point is, I think the NFL needs to expand. Expand their primetime rules.
Yeah, I think so too. And
they have to expand their flex rules. I mean,
that primetime game should be a great game every week. Period.
Absolutely. And right now it's not. And it's not. I mean, I don't know if you watched Jets Raiders.
I tried not to.
You were better. Yeah, you were better off. It was a terrible game between 2 mediocre teams, although the Raiders did win. And as I said a couple of weeks ago, after their firing of McDaniels, they were going to go on a bit of a run. And now the Raiders are 2-0 with new coach Antonio Pierce.
I do wonder sometimes if the NFL's attitude is like football fans will watch because it's football. And it's like, it's sometimes the leagues take that approach of, hey, you're going to watch. So why should we change it? And it's like, I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's the right attitude either. But speaking of Josh McDaniels,
You're fired.
yeah, yes, fired a couple of weeks ago by the Raiders, and of course will now make over the next he'll basically be paid over the next 4 years to sit at home by the Raiders. And I think it's gonna be something like 15 million a year or something he's going to make over that time, which is ridiculous. And so Rob Gronkowski, of course, probably future Hall of Fame tight end, one of the best tight ends of any era, really. And obviously a former, McDaniels was a QB coach when he was at the Patriots and when Gronk was there. And even though Gronk says he's friends with McDaniels, he's like, why is McDaniels being paid all this money to sit at home? Yeah. Why? And it brings up a very good point, right? Because obviously there are unions and there are
got a great agent.
There are agreements and stuff, but in the NFL, coaching contracts are all guaranteed. And of course, we know very well, and we talk about the salary cap. We talk about how Daniel Jones, his money will no longer be guaranteed after next year, and then he'll be cut because he's terrible. It's a whole nother story. But why aren't player contracts guaranteed like that? Or why aren't there more clauses in coach contracts where if you don't last halfway through the contract or 70% of the way through the contract, you don't get all that money. Right. Now, obviously, it doesn't count against the cap and all that, but please, Lee, what are your thoughts?
No, it comes down to that's how coaching contracts are made. And like you said, you just said at the end there is no cap. So, I mean, I don't want to say it's throwaway money for the teams, but it is. When you look at what an NFL payroll, like they can afford to have a coach get fired and continue to pay him. Now, with that said, that rule will not be broken until a coach breaks that rule. And you can bet your ass that no coach is going to the negotiation table without having a guaranteed payment structure on their contract. So until someone innovates how that's done, that's how it will be. It's not fair. I always hate arguing when people get paid millions and millions of dollars for doing nothing when there are people making nothing for doing millions and millions of hours of work. Yeah. But I gotta say this again too, being a devil's advocate to my own point, we have deemed that is valuable in this country, and that money is there. So it will not change until a coach changes the way contracts are done, or a team does that, or there's a cap with coaching. When there's a cap on coaching, you bet your butt they won't be doing that. But that'll never happen.
Yeah. No, you're right. They'll never agree to any kind of a deal like that.
And another episode, we can discuss college coach salaries, which I believe in like 40 of the 50 states, the highest paid person in the state is a college coach.
Yeah, no, and that's a
stupid number. Too.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. And speaking of college coaches, quick football segment this week, because honestly, folks, there just wasn't a lot of great games this week. Although quick shout out to the Lions and Chargers, which was probably the game of the week, and the Lions now 7-2, roaring into the 2 seed in the NFC. It's gonna be fun. This Detroit Lions team is fun and good for Detroit. A long suffering fan base.
Another big win for the Eagles this week by not playing.
Yes. Yeah. They got to stay at home and watch the Giants give up 7 touchdowns to Dallas. But the Cardinals won, and that means the Giants are moving up the draft board. Here we go. And anyway, we're done with that. Speaking of college coaches, going back to my transition, slap on the wrist from college football against Michigan, in my opinion. We talked about cheating here in the show last week. Lee gave a very passionate Lee rant on people who resort to cheating in sports. And you know what? If this is how the punishment, you're only going to encourage it more often, in my opinion, because the punishment for Michigan they're not disqualified from the playoffs. They're not giving up, having to give up certain, slots for high school prospects or things of that nature. They're not having to give up, games or anything like that, or proceeds. No, just Jim Harbaugh can't coach the next 3 games, and just game day. He can still go to all the practices. He just can't be in the arenas for the next 2 game days, and he'll be back in time for the playoffs, assuming Michigan gets there. They just have to win their last 2 games. So that's it. Slap on the wrist. That's it. Little slap. Don't worry about it. You got caught cheating. Your whole organization got caught cheating. You blamed it on one guy. You fired the scapegoat, Jim Harbaugh. Go take Saturdays off for 3 weeks. It'll be fine. We'll see you in the playoffs.
Yeah, like he won't be coaching from the sidelines on his phone, texting people. But there's a few things I want to say about this. Number one is that this is the institution making a decision so that the game wins, right? Like, again, sometimes we have to remember these governing bodies, not in their best interest to overly punish people. It hurts the sport. Houston Astros would be a great example of a team that really got off with nothing because the MLB thinks, well, we can't ruin our own sport. So that's a problem. I'll say this too, another bigger problem. Now I'm seeing coaches say, oh, everybody signs steals. Everybody signs steals. First off, don't tell me that. I don't want to know that. Second of all, high school football, you can have a headset to the quarterback.
Yes.
Professional football, you can have a headset to the quarterback. Why the hell has college football not changed that yet?
Yes.
I don't understand it. It looks stupid with all those signs on the sideline anyway.
Yeah.
Just let them talk in the headset and the problem is solved.
Yes.
What is the advantage of not having that?
I sent you a clip from earlier in the week. Nebraska coach Matt Rule said the exact same thing.
I don't understand it.
Where it's sometimes the NCAA can't get out of their own way. We talk about how behind the times baseball is a lot. The NCAA might be even further behind the times than baseball when it comes to a lot of these stuff and making changes. And, you mentioned the governing bodies, and obviously maybe it is because the NCAA, because it is broken down into the SEC and the Pac-12 and the Big Ten and all this other garbage, right? Maybe it's time to, again, step into the 21st century, realign all of these major colleges into under one grand governing body that's uniform across the country, and we get rid of all of this regional garbage, right? Like, well, this conference has 2 divisions, but this conference has 10 teams. This conference has 8. This conference doesn't really count, but we'll give them a bowl game anyway. No, one thing, uniform, put it all in writing, catch up to modern times. And because of this way, we're not having these ridiculous conversations anymore about this stuff. So,
Look, you know what's funny, Ray? When I was in graduate school for sports management, we were studying the NCAA, and we had a lot of young people in the class that wanted to get involved in the NCAA or had the kind of superhero idea that I'll change the NCAA. And our professor did such a great job. They brought out the NCAA compliance book. And immediately you realize I cannot ever be involved with this association, because it is a mess. It is a War of the World size book that contradicts itself over and over and over again. If I was a law student, I wouldn't want to get into this thing.
Yeah.
So unraveling that completely tangled, mess that is the NCAA without a loom would be impossible.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be like what happened with the name, image, likeness stuff, where it took 10 years of legal battles to finally get that rule instituted, right? A lot of people really paid a price in terms of time and effort so that future generations could get what they're worth. Because again, these universities are making hundreds of millions of dollars on these guys. And it took, like you said, like it was a legal nightmare, but it took them 10 years and they fought for it. I don't know. Yeah, it might not. Again, is the effort. Yeah. Is the juice worth the squeeze at that point? I think it is. But then again, I'm not going to be the one who would have to pay in the blood, sweat, and tears for this to get the NCAA.
Someone has to break their face getting through that brick wall.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know who that's going to be. Oh, goodness. Speaking of new rules, this was interesting. I was surprised that this is just a fun little fact. This is something I didn't realize wasn't already on the books. ESPN instituted a new rule for their company that reporters can't bet on games that they're having maybe insider knowledge on and whatnot. Like no, duh. Like I'm surprised this wasn't already a rule. I mean, obviously journalistic integrity and whatnot, a lot of guys, this isn't a problem, and this probably came about because you are starting to see a lot of issues, particularly in the NFL, where players are betting on if not their sport, college sports, other sports. And obviously, again, we go back to the Pete Rose, in sports in general, gambling on sports is the cardinal sin, as well as it should be. But also, by the way, for these guys who are all betting on sports and all their own sports and getting half season suspensions, Pete Rose is still waiting for his induction to the Hall of Fame. So I just want to mention that. But I was just surprised that this wasn't in a rule already on the books for ESPN, because again, maybe it is just one of those none-written, no-brainer rules. I didn't feel was necessary till now. But Lee, what are your thoughts that they made this announcement this week?
What I have a hard time understanding, Ray, is the hypocrisy of that we can use betting organizations to advertise in hockey on people's helmets, on jerseys, but we outlaw anybody involved in the game from doing it. There's just something weird about that to me.
The hypocrisy of it all.
Yeah, that's kind of where I go with it. But with the same time, it's like sometimes common sense, not common sense. Maybe that guy's a problem. Don't bet on the games you're doing. You got a good job. Don't be a moron.
Yeah.
And you do have insider information.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I just sometimes people make such stupid decisions with gambling. It's a disease, like people say.
Yes,
So,
it is a problem for a great many people, and we're not poo-pooing that at all.
Even if you're in Vegas, you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah. Speaking of Vegas,
there it is.
There it is. Yes. Just a quick thing. Big thing. F1 is going to be in Vegas next week. This is a big deal. Obviously, F1 has been really trying to expand its reach here in the States and has been doing a good job. It is probably the fastest growing sport here in the country, of course. And again, a very well-renowned sport around the world, but it's just starting to catch on here. And so they're going to Vegas, and I was in Vegas 2 weeks ago. I can tell you this, every local now hates F1. Everybody in Las Vegas who works at the casinos, who works at the restaurants and the bars, everyone who is a commuter and lives in the greater Vegas Metroplex area, Henderson, all those areas, absolutely despises F1 now and will never be a fan of it. They have one of the busiest tourist attraction cities in the world has been ground to a halt because of the construction, the traffic, the stands. And then the F1 came out this week. They showed the track layout. It looks like a cartoon pig. If you look at it, you turn it upside, it looks like a cartoon pig. The drivers have complained about the pit stop entrance. And F1 has admitted they didn't realize the desert got cold in the winter. And they now know that there's going to possibly be problems for the tires and the track and issues that they did not plan for because they thought Vegas was going to be warm in the middle of November. Lee, how much of a disaster is this event going to be?
Well, I'm looking at the track. It does look like a cartoon pig. You're not wrong. It looks like an incredibly easy track, too.
Yeah, there's a couple of where the feet are of the cartoon pig are going to be difficult turns, but yes, the hooves. But that's about it.
Yeah, this is what I think, Ray. I think if that race brings in billions of dollars that no one was expecting, everyone's going to love F1 in Vegas a week later. But yeah, the construction, the organization's been kind of a mess. This is just another thing of Vegas saying, "Hey, we can do it in Vegas, baby," and it's like, well, not this one. Baseball, football, basketball, hockey, you probably can do. You want to put a gigantic ball in the middle of the city? Sure, Vegas, go for that. All right, you can put a big ball in the middle of your city. But a racetrack, shutting down the fountains, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? So I don't think they're going to lose money. F1's a very popular sport. I think also Vegas is the type of city that will complain, and then everyone will show up because they want to be part of it. You know what I mean? So we'll see. If it's empty stands and a bad race, they can say that they tried it and moved on. I don't know how they didn't realize the desert gets cold in the winter. Especially you have tracks in other places where there's deserts. That's Anyway, we'll see what happens. Like I'm one of those of we got to let it happen and then see what happens, and then we'll have an understanding. Because look, here's the other thing about it, Ray. Some kid's going to be in the crowd and be watching and become a F1 racer one day because of this race. So we just have to see what happens. You know what I mean? But it's weird when I hear that they're shutting down fountains and tourist attractions and you have to walk around them or, one of the nice
very
parts
inconvenient as a tourist.
and one of the nice parts of Vegas, for those of you who haven't been there, is how convenient it is to get around when there's not an F1 track there. I mean, it's so easy to move around. There's escalators everywhere. There's walkways.
Usually, yes. Yeah.
They've made it so easy to get from one casino to the next. Or even a quick cab ride. It's just not hard. Or I should say Uber or Lyft. But yeah, we'll see what happens here. I'm interested to kind of revisit this with you after it.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I will not be watching because I will be at the AEW pay-per-view here in LA this weekend at the exact same time the F1 race is happening. It is the Full Gear pay-per-view here at the Kia Forum, and your boy got tickets yesterday. Because wrestling is better than racing to me.
I just love that. Your boy got tickets. I don't hear you talk like that. Hey, good. You've been wanting to go see them for a while.
Yes, I have. I have, and it's been not easy. I've been to many WWE events over the years, SummerSlams and a pair of WrestleManias and some SmackDown tapings. I even went to an NXT taping once in Florida. But this will be my first AEW event, so I'm very excited that I was able to get the tickets for.
If I could go to any wrestling event, if I had to pick just one, it would be a Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I've never been to a Rumble. I would love to go to a Rumble live. Yeah,
by far the greatest thing in a video game.
Greatest gimmick match of all time. Pat Patterson, R.I.P. Genius.
Right.
So, yeah, no, unbelievable. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing this weekend instead of watching F1. The other thing that's going on, last thing in sports, MLB Hot Stove. It's not really started. We're still getting the awards here. Yankees rookie Anthony Volpe won a Gold Glove.
The water is simmering. The stove is heating up.
Yes. Probably within the next couple of weeks, the official winter meetings, the big winter meetings will be the first week of December.
Are you expecting any major changes?
I mean, I don't think there's going to be a lot of trades. I think there's going to be a lot of free agent moves. Obviously, we know there's no way Shohei stays with the Angels.
No, he left. Not after how he even. It was very quiet how he exited that team before the season ended. Yeah, I was surprised nobody made a big deal out of that. He was just like, okay, bye.
Yeah, I mean, there was a bigger deal out here for sure, but he was hurt. He got hurt, and then that was it.
He was hurt. He wanted to get his surgery and get it over with, and it's the right move.
He's already thinking of next year, and it's going to be interesting to see because there are obviously a lot of other teams thinking about next year. Yankee general manager Brian Cashman was all over the back pages of the New York papers, basically adamant, "We're a good effing team. We're a good Brian. We were 82-80. You freaking moron."
Yeah, just dreamer.
And then he went on to bash Giancarlo Stanton. And mind you, I don't like Giancarlo Stanton either. It's our job to bash him. It's me and Lee's job. It's our job to bash him. It is a bad sign when your own general manager says, yeah, he's going to probably get hurt again, and we're only going to have him maybe for 80 games. That, we're kind of stuck with him. You're the one who traded for him, you moron. You said the quiet part out loud. And now if you're trying to retrade him, who is going to want him?
Right.
You idiot. But hey, Lee, your Phillies might get Mike Trout.
I would love to get Trout here in Philadelphia as long as it's a fair deal. We'll see. I mean, the Phillies are a team primed to win the World Series again. So, obviously Rhys Hoskins will not be here next season, and wish him the best. Yeah. He was a great Philly. He came up right in our farm system. He was a real homegrown guy. But Bryce Harper's going to be at first base with the first place.
Yeah, they said Phillies. He's going to be first base from now on.
But if Trout comes here, I mean, man, do we look even more dangerous. Nothing against Hoskins outside the injury thing. And Trout loves Philadelphia. We know that, but they're going to want an arm and a leg for him. And because I don't think the Angels know how to do deals the right way. So my gut's telling me he won't be here. But just because I think the Angels are going to ask for too much, and we're not going to be stupid about it.
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting to see. The Angels are going through a full rebuild. They just brought in Ron Washington as their new manager, who, of course, led the Rangers to back-to-back American League pennants 10 years ago. And then was the Atlanta Braves third base. He has a ring as their third base coach, an infield coach, and now he is the head guy over there as he'll be the new manager for the Angels. But yeah, I mean, already talks about at least Castellanos would have to be in that deal for Trout and whatnot.
Well, I wouldn't mind moving Castellanos. Not that I don't like the guy, but
no, it's a big contract for a guy who strikes out a lot.
I would take Trout for him any day of the week.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, now, like you said, I'm sure it'll be a lot more than that. But yeah, I mean, I think the Angels are at the point where they want to get out of that Trout contract because another guy who is very, very injury prone.
Right.
And I think Trout wants out of the Anaheim because Anaheim sucks. It's that simple.
I mean,
they're a terribly run organization from top to bottom.
Unfortunately, that's true.
And the worst thing that happened to the Angels was it looked like their owner was going to sell last year, and then he changed his mind. Like that was an organization that definitely needs a change from top to bottom. And yeah, the Angels are in trouble. But it's going to be interesting. There have been rumors of Tyler Glasnow being on the trade block from Tampa Bay and several other players, but we know Josh Hader is a free agent. We know Blake Snell's a free agent. Jordan Montgomery's a free agent. Yeah, we know lots of guys, other Rhys Hoskins, as you mentioned. It's gonna be very interesting to see where a lot of these guys land and for how much money. Rumors abound that the Yankees are going to trade for Juan Soto. I still believe that the Padres asking price is too high. But that's me.
The Yankees will pay it.
That's the problem is I just don't have any faith in Brian Cashman.
He'll pay it.
He's very stupid. That's the thing. To me, they want too much pitching. And like, again, the only way to me you make that deal then is you have to bring back like a Jordan Montgomery, who you traded for next to nothing last year. And also probably sign a like the Yankees need rotation help. You got to sign the kid. The Yankees have to go all in on the Yamamoto kid out of Japan, in my opinion.
Well, and they will not do that.
If he's a Met next year, Lee, I swear to whatever God you believe in.
Oh, the great one.
Yeah, whoever. I swear to whatever you want me to swear on.
The God of stories.
Yes, the God of stories. That I will. I will have a fit. But speaking of the God of stories,
you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
I had to help you get out of this. I'm excited about today's geek section, Ray. We got some great geek stuff today.
We have a big geek section today, folks, and we're going to tell you right now. It is spoiler. Isn't he
Spoiler alert! You're about
the whole section.
The whole section's a big spoiler alert. I will say we have lived by our rules. Everything has been out for enough amount of time. I would say that there are no earth-shattering spoilers, which our rule was a week. There are some big spoilers. Our rule was 48 hours. We are way past 48 hours with all of these spoilers. But if you have not seen Loki, spoiler alert. If you have not seen the Marvels, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
If somehow you have not seen the new Ghostbusters trailer, spoiler alert. If you don't want to see any of these and you want us to spoil it for you, alert.
Yeah, all kinds of alerts. This whole section. Look at the rundown. Look at the recap. Skip around. Also, I'm going to do a special review later in the week for a movie that won't be out to the general public for another month. But I don't mind spoiling it because it's a biopic. It's based on a true story. Your boy got to see an advanced screening of The Iron Claw, which, of course, is based on the Von Erich family, one of the great wrestling families, and, of course, the Curse of the Von Erichs, which, if you don't know, I'll say this, go watch the Dark Side of the Ring docu short on them. It's phenomenal, and it will tell you everything you need to know, and it's no surprise that Hollywood wanted to make a dramatization about this. This family, it stars Zac Efron, who really bulked up for this. Like, he got, like, bodybuilder big for this, and really did a phenomenal job. The acting was terrific, but we're gonna I'll give a full review later in the week on that. So stay tuned. But yes, that's one story. Now for all the other stories, we're gonna go to the God of stories, Loki. So again, this is your last warning, folks. All spoilers ahead from here on out. Loki episode 6 was the Loki in general is the best written thing Marvel has done possibly ever.
I agree.
Simple as that. Loki finally gets his throne. He realizes that the only way for him, and we kind of hinted that this is a possibility, me and Lee kind of predicted that this is a possibility. The only way for things to continue with all new possibilities was basically for Loki to replace He Who Remains. And that's what happens. By the way, he builds his own throne. He grabs all the strands and kind of actually looked like the Norse world tree, which I really appreciated, continuing the idea of Norse mythology and whatnot.
Well, and that's exactly what that was, because that's what he knows.
Right. And so because what ends up happening is they realize that you can't expand the loom enough to fit all the timelines in. It's like dividing by zero. What a great line from Victor Timely.
It was.
Yeah. It just was absolutely phenomenal. It leaves the door open for possible TVA characters to return. And Marvel has hinted that they might do that, where they might give Mobius and B-15 and all of them their own series, like following Kang variants and whatnot, and like trying to shut them down.
Well, I will say right now that and no one's talking about this, which is kind of weird to me. Clearly, Sylvie will continue. And Sylvie is a character that I would not be surprised, Ray, if there is some formation of a multiverse Avengers squad and she leads that charge.
Yep, Lady Loki doing her thing.
Yeah, there's no way that, like, I mean, there was so heavy on Loki, like actual Loki, Tom Hiddleston Loki in that episode that Sylvie became a side character. There's no way that they just disappear. Like, you could easily just say, okay, yeah, Owen Wilson and the rest of the TVA crew stay. But my belief is that Sylvie is going to become a main character now, and lead a multiversal Avengers squad.
I mean, that would be phenomenal. I mean, you could do that. We've seen that happen before in What If.
Right.
So, like, you could absolutely do something like that. I think, obviously, everybody, again, gave great performances in the show. Everybody.
This was the best written Marvel show. Now, a few notes on this before we even dive into this episode of why this was such a well-written show. Season 1 and 2 connect flawlessly and beautifully, and they come back to each other. You cannot have one without the other. This is
like an Ouroboros.
Exactly. There have been many, many TV shows where you could skip a whole season and be fine. This is not one of them. I doubt there will be a third season. It was beautifully written. Number 2, the character arc of Loki becoming the hero, which is a really worthy story to tell.
Yeah.
Right? Was done so beautifully. And the final 2 episodes really touched you on a human level, keeping in mind, too, that this is science fiction, as they say in the episodes. But the fact that this show was able to get you to care for the cast like Loki does is insanely good television. Insanely good, right? You generally care about every character, including Victor Timely, who was not really in a lot of the episodes. I mean, he's in some of them, but like, you really care about every character. They do a great job. This is really some of the best writing I've seen in a long, long time, right?
Yeah.
And it's all because the Hulk had to take the stairs.
Yeah.
In the Avengers.
That's it.
That's the only reason.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's the smallest thing has the biggest ramifications.
Effect.
Exactly.
Like, think about it. That time travel. The Hulk took the stairs, and that's why this show is created, technically. But just even the last episode titled "Glorious Purpose," and like, again,
which was also the first episode's title too.
Right. Well, here's the thing: is that if I'm this is going to get a rewatch from me because which we don't say a lot about Marvel. I've not rewatched any of the Marvel TV shows. This one will get it, and I'll tell you, like, even when you watch season 1 and you see all the Lokis in the end of time, talk about how they always lose, and then this episode is about he has to lose to win.
Yeah,
which is so beautiful and so beautifully written. And then the definition of glorious purpose. There's a great conversation he has with Mobius about sometimes to win you have to do what you don't want to do, and Loki accepting the role of a god that will be there forever, holding all of the time strands together. I mean, it's just this is classic literature level good. Yeah, I don't think we see anything like that. I mean, we're an ending worthy of a god, and Loki will remain at the end of time, holding everything together.
Yeah,
and can return. I mean, I was gonna say, can you imagine if Sylvie went to go find Thor?
Yeah,
and Thor to do something. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of amazing things that could be happening here. But the connection of Loki to his friends and then traveling thousands and thousands of years. That's another thing that is not being talked about enough in the last episode.
Yeah.
This last episode encompasses probably 10,000 years. All right.
He spends literal centuries learning everything. He literally he does everything he possibly can. Literally until he finally is like, the only way to win is to lose.
Well, and keep in mind too, we know of the centuries because there's that one thing that says centuries later.
Yeah.
But there's another thing too of like when he's talking to when he's talking to He Who Remains, he goes back in time at that point, and he can now control time, not just his time slipping. How many years did that take him to understand?
Yeah.
So this is a Groundhog Day scenario But I wouldn't be surprised if it was 10,000 years he tried to save his friends. And that was
Yeah.
the goal, was to save his friends, not just the timeline.
Yeah.
And again, the loom was only meant for the sacred timeline. It could not be expanded. And when he
Right.
realizes
It
all
was
of
it was
this,
a fail safe. It was
right,
it was never meant to hold multiple timelines.
right. And when he realizes that the glorious purpose is to save his friends, and remember, they poignantly put in this episode, he can save Sylvie before she kills He Who Remains and stop all of this, and he won't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's truly the journey of a villain, one of the greatest villains, into a tragic hero. I mean,
it's the heroic sacrifice.
Yeah,
Like you said, if
yeah.
he kills Sophie, then he can still have his life. And and He Who Remains will remain at the end of the time doing the job. And instead, Loki is like, no, I will do your job so my friends can live.
Right. Sylvie, not Sophie.
Yeah. So sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry.
That's it.
Her real name is Sophia. So there we go. So
you're gonna play that card. Okay, Ray. Anyway, look, it was a brilliant ending. Loki is so super fitting. By the way, so for those of you who don't know, the God of Stories is a real comic book thing that they've done with Loki recently, and it's the evolution of his power. And there's a line in Ragnarok where Loki betrays Thor, and Thor goes, "Oh, brother, we just go round and round, and you're not growing. You never grow. You do the same thing over and over again." They gave Hiddleston the room to grow the character, and Loki evolves not just as a trickster and a magician, but just someone who can control time. And the way Loki looks at controlling time is that he can control the story. Now, Ray, we know that I am a time travel nut. I love things with time travel.
yes.
This is a step above, to view time as the story, and that he can control the story is kind of a realm in time travel we haven't hit.
Yeah.
And that I kind of like the idea that the last view of Loki is that he's kind of maybe able to tap into those timelines, right? And see his friends, which we've talked about. It's just really well done. Owen Wilson was really fantastic in this role.
Yeah.
Ouroboros was. I mean, he should win an Emmy for this.
They should all honestly, like they're all very much front runners.
This deserves awards, and if they don't get awards, it's just because they hate the genre.
Well, because Hollywood sucks. Hollywood sucks.
We're going to talk about that with another film in a minute too, but I just want to say this is the best. It's not even just the best TV show Marvel's made. This is one of the best TV shows I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah. And also in terms of the larger Marvel universe, they also reference Ant-Man 3, kind of like helping to redeem that just a touch, where they're basically like, oh, one of the He Who Remains variants kind of got uppity over on 616 adjacent, which also, by the way, explains it basically explains how Kevin Feige keeps calling it 616, even though that's the comic verse. So like they give it a different designation. So it's not necessarily, it's Earth 1999, but it's also 616 adjacent. So it's an interesting, it was an interesting way to describe it. But they're like, oh yeah, it got uppity over there in that universe, but they handled it themselves, so we don't have to, and that's it. And that's all they had to say. And there you go. That's Kang. Kang the Conqueror is just like that. So
well, and I'm glad they at least referenced it, because that's the only other film with a lot of Kang in it.
For sure, it needed to be at some point, and I'm glad that that's how they look at it, and we can now put that behind us, and that they'll look. I still hope they go forward with Majors in the Kang Dynasty and all that other stuff. But we'll see what the. Yeah, he was phenomenal in this. He playing both Timely and He Who Remains, even at the point where as He Who Remains, he's making fun of Timely and his stutter. Like, yeah, it
was a funny scene because he imitates him, and like my brain malfunctioned for a minute. I'm like, wait, that's the same actor.
Yeah. So yeah, he's just doing different voice.
Winters is really good, and I really hope, assuming he is innocent, if he is, that they can move on from this, because there's a lot of talk of just let's move on to Dr. Doom, and I'm like, stop panicking.
Yeah,
get your ducks in a row and do this right. He's too good of an actor.
Yeah, it sounds. Yeah, that situation needs to resolve itself before anything is done, and with more evidence coming more and more to light, where it sounds like he's. I'm not going to presume. Obviously, I'm not in the court. I don't know, but it doesn't. At least from what we know publicly, it doesn't sound like he's guilty. Right. In my opinion, but that's just from what we know. And again, we're not a court of law. We'll let them we'll let that decide. And if the case gets thrown out, which is what they're pushing for now, then let him come back and be Kang.
Right.
It's simple. Same way they should let a lot of folks are mad, but they're going to probably let Trevor Bauer come back to baseball, as they should, because the case got thrown out and he was found.
They absolutely should.
So that's neither here nor there. Although now there are other possible charges against Bauer, but that's something, again, you take them as they come. Anyway, speaking of the Marvel Universe, speaking of, I guess, taking it as it comes, the Marvels came out this week, and everybody is lambasting it on the internet for some reason. Oh, it's doing poorly at the box office. It's doing this. It's not, the numbers aren't there. And it's like, and you know what? It's a shame, because it's the best thing that Marvel's made since Endgame.
Agreed. It's a good movie.
Film-wise.
Ray and I saw it. The Marvels is a fun, entertaining, good movie.
Yeah.
I was not upset that I paid to see it. It's an hour and 45 minutes, which is also one of the shortest Marvel movies.
I think it's the shortest. Yeah.
Yeah. Did not need a lot of backstory. You already know the characters. It is fun. Even if you don't know the characters, it's fun. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's got a great story that makes a ton of sense. And then this is what's nice about it. There's a payoff at the end of the film that has to do with the film.
Yeah.
Right. Ray and I have talked a lot about how we're tired of going to Marvel films that the payoff is the post-credit scene. And this film, the end of the film, pays off. It creates something where we can move forward from in this film. And we said spoiler, so I'm going to tell you guys, we have the Young Avengers coming. And this film is beautifully done in terms of how the characters interact with each other, and how they all use the same power to find a way forward through the storyline. And at the end of the film, we find out that they're forming the Young Avengers, which Ray and I predicted, not that you had to be super smart to see it coming, right? But that the Young Avengers are coming, born from Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. This film
that I didn't see. I didn't see that coming, where Kamala is basically acting as Nick Fury, and she is the one who is going around to collect these Young Avengers. She specifically mentioned Cassie Lang, Ant-Man's daughter, aka Stature, and it ends with her trying to recruit Kate Bishop, or I should say, actually, it looked like Kate Bishop agreed to join her. So there you go. You have Kate Bishop. You're going to have Stature. Obviously, you're going to probably get, you're going to probably get Ironheart, Wiccan, and Speed, if they can figure out how to bring them back in other films.
Multiverse.
There's ways. You're going to have the Young Avengers coming. We also have from She-Hulk, we have Scar.
Right.
So you can put him in there. The
film is really great, and it kind of continues from Captain Marvel, really the beginning of the storyline, that Hala and the Kree are dying, and that the antagonist of the film is going to other planets to kind of harvest their resources, the water, the sun.
Yeah.
To
try to save Hala. She's destroying other planets to save Hala, because when Captain Marvel destroyed the Supreme Intelligence, she didn't realize the chain reaction it would have on that planet.
Which is like just a really great kind of worthy storyline. It didn't have to be any deeper than that. And then it's Captain Marvel learning how to work as a team. It's obviously Photon, which they never call her in this film, understanding how to kind of reincorporate with her powers, and then Kamala turning into a larger part of a Avengers level action. Right? Or a Avengers level thing. Fury's in it. It's hilarious. There's lots of Flurkin in it. It was great. Yes. I mean, it was really fun. I don't know. I don't know why people are lambasting this. And then obviously, I said the payoff is the end, but at the very end, the post-credit scene is, as it should be, a bonus, not the payoff. The bonus is that Photon is thrown into an alternate reality where she finds the X-Men, at least one of the X-Men that we know of, Beast, with Kelsey Grammer as the voice.
Yes.
Brilliant turn to bring the X-Men into the MCU.
Yeah, the basically showing that there's a multiverse, and it's clear that universe is not aware there's a multiverse yet, right? Like, so it's going to possibly open those doors. Hopefully we get more of that in Deadpool 3. We're going to talk about that in a second. And also, it's something they hinted at in Doctor Strange 2. As meh as that movie was, what was interesting is that in that film, remember, it's Monica's mom who becomes Captain Marvel there.
Right.
And in this film, they mention, specifically Brie Larson's Captain Marvel says, it's your mom should have won the race that day. Your mom should have been the hero.
Right.
And it insinuates, and then she goes there, and the person who finds Photon in the alternate X-Men universe is Binary, which of course is the superpowered version of Captain Marvel, because she has both quantum bands in this.
Right.
and it's her mom. Again, insinuating that in most of the other universes, it is Monica's mom that wins the race and becomes Captain Marvel, which I think is fascinating. Like it just really was really well done. It's and Monica was fantastic. Because I mean, even then, like, she doesn't even panic when she realizes what she's just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like, she immediately knows it. It just gets great. It's hysterical.
Well,
like,
and we should also too, like, the kid from Doctor Strange 2 America, who can jump from multiverse to multiverse to multiverse. Now suddenly she has a purpose.
Yeah.
Like, things are starting to connect finally.
Right?
And I'm gonna say the Marvels connects a little bit to the major universe, right? And so did Loki.
They said everything changes here.
Right.
And it's the truth. This is the film you have to see finally.
Now, to turn this a little bit, I'm a little perturbed that the media, specifically Hollywood media, is like, well, it didn't make a lot of money, so it must be bad. When did that become the gauge on what was a good or bad movie? Barbie made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like the most money. I'm
Ever.
not ripping Barbie. Okay, but I don't think it was a good film because it made a lot of money, or it was a bad film. When did this start becoming the gauge? And now, you know, what I don't understand, Ray, it's like a witch hunt. Like, they come out like, well, it didn't make a lot of money, so it must be bad. Marvel has a problem. Marvel has a problem. No, they don't. You morons are making it a problem right now.
Yeah.
I told all my friends, I saw it. It was good. You should see it.
Yeah.
You should see it now. It's a good film.
Ignore the critics not named Bray and Lee. They
it's not even getting bad reviews too, Ray. That's the other thing.
No, it's gotten some bad reviews.
Yeah.
Like I think it's like a 60. Okay. I want to say this first off. Rotten Tomatoes also is not the end all be all.
No, not
right?
at all.
When it comes to that. Like, but it's a 68 from critics, which is not that's
horrible.
Far from the worst in terms of Marvel from critics, but it's like an 86 from the public.
Yeah, it's getting like a 6 to 8.5 rating, which is not the end of the world. And my rating is on the higher end of that. Definitely not a 9, definitely not a 10.
No,
I think it's a solid 8.
I think it's an 8, maybe even an 8.5 for sure. Like, I think that there was, they could have done a little more development of the villain. There was a couple of things that they kind of, rammed a square peg.
I was happy to be out of there in 2 hours. I was like, wow.
I was so thrilled that it was only an hour 45. Chef's kiss. Perfect. Perfect.
Ray,
I
had forgotten what that felt like. It was like, there's been times I've been in movies, even Marvel movies, I'm like, when is this going to end? Like,
I am so sick of the 3-hour superhero film. Yeah. We don't need it. We don't need 3-hour films.
Well, this is why you have TV shows. So you don't need to make the 3-hour film. Yeah, you want to make Avengers 2.5 hours. I get that. That's a big culmination.
Sure.
All right. But this was well done. And I think Hollywood's eating itself again.
Yeah, we're going to get into that later, especially with Warner Brothers, but it's specifically.
People, see the Marvels. It's a good flick. I enjoyed it. You can do it quickly. The trailers are fun right now. The ending is a great payoff. See the Marvels. Don't listen to the critics. Do not ever base your box office choices on the box office results in cash. We all have different reasons for loving different films. I personally think the media in Hollywood just wants to end superhero films. They're tired of it, and they're trying to make a change. That's what I think is actually happening here. Okay?
Yeah, because they're a bunch of because they love the smell of their own farts. That's
they
basically
really do. Go see the Marvels. It's great.
Yeah, no, seriously, it is, folks. You're doing yourself a disservice by not see. I mean, look, if you're waiting for it to come out on Disney Plus, fine, but you're really doing yourself a disservice. And Caitlin, producer, mentions it, and it is true. I'm sure that there are some people out there who are just a little bit intimidated by a full female cast.
Maybe. Yeah.
Get over yourselves. Honestly, the 3 ladies are amazing. They are all talented, gifted actresses. And honestly, the best part of the film might be their interaction with each other. It really might.
I was just going to say, this is another reason why I don't understand why they're lambasting this film.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, this was a great film with a female-led cast. If anything, they should be celebrating it. And they're not. So, failures all around from Hollywood on this one, except for the film itself.
And a diverse
Marvel, good job. Thank you, Marvel. By
you
the
have
way,
a white woman, a black woman, and an Indian woman, and they all do amazing. They're all amazing. Probably
Yeah.
Iman, probably the most of all, in my opinion.
Well,
Iman
you know what I like about it, right? You know when female-led films irk me, and I'll be really upfront about this because everybody who knows me knows I am fully on board with supporting women and making sure women are part of everything that goes on, including men. And you know how I feel about that. But you know what this film didn't do? It didn't make the male characters morons or idiots.
Didn't pander.
Right. This is where She-Hulk
There's
failed.
a whole special. South Park just did a whole special about pandering.
Right.
Right.
This
does not pander.
This is where She-Hulk failed. Because a lot of the male characters in She-Hulk were stupid men. Right? Look, men don't want that any more than women do. And you can throw at me, well, this is 100 years it's been like this. Yeah, I agree with you. There's no way forward without us all working together. The male characters in this film, while secondary, were strong characters. They were good characters. They made
Nick
sense.
Fury as the comedy relief was perfect.
Great.
Perfect.
You don't have to make men look stupid to make women look strong. And this film is a great example of strong women working with strong men with a female-led cast and story. It worked. It worked.
Doesn't
so make more of that.
Yeah, it was great. The ladies all did fantastic. My favorite, I'll say this, they got out of it just in time. There's a whole thing with a planet where everybody sings, and I am not a musical person. Everybody knows this.
Yeah.
It's not my thing. But even that, the great thing I took away from that scene is how the characters all reacted. Again, you get to see how they all react in the scene.
Yeah.
Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, she was awkward. She's like, I got to do this because we got to save the planet. We got all this. Don't like it. Photon is looking at it from a scientist's perspective where she's trying to analyze and figure it out. And then you have Iman Vellani as Ms. Marvel dancing along and singing with everybody, even though she has no idea what's going on. It's such a perfect microcosm of the film in a way that where I'm like, I don't like singing, but I like this scene. Because it's just really well acted and just, again, really well written. And it's just really well done.
It was very fun. I will say this, that scene, that planet is the only loophole in the film I didn't understand because they kind of siphon the water off that planet. We don't know what happens to the planet, which is it's just a loose end basically that didn't tie off. And that happens, which no one probably cares about but me. So that works.
We'll figure it out later. But yeah, no, So yeah, go see the Marvels.
Go see it. The Marvels, good flick.
Yes. And also, it's going to be the last Marvel thing we're going to have in the theater for a while anyway.
Right.
Because big news, of course, Cap 4, starring Anthony Mackie, has been delayed till 2025, which means the only Marvel film, and also speaking of the X-Men at the end of the film, the only film we're going to have in 2024 from the Marvelverse is Deadpool 3.
He will save us, Ray. We will be saved by the Deadpool.
Well, I mean, to your point, Lee, I think this is where you expand the multiverse because you're going to have Wolverine.
Yeah.
Like, this is your chance.
You have to do it. And, the script for that film was apparently locked in. Like, they wouldn't let Ryan Reynolds ad-lib anything. So why not use Deadpool? Why not use that character to push the MCU forward? I mean, isn't that the coolest thing that you could possibly do?
Yeah.
And I expect it to be fun. But even if Deadpool's fourth wall break allows us to have the multiverse even more, I'm right. We need this multiverse thing to happen now.
Yeah.
Tired of waiting. Phase 4 was horrible. Horrible.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Redeem yourself.
Ms. Marvel and Loki will save us. Deadpool will now carry the torch. Because I also say this, I don't think Echo's going to do anything.
Yeah, you will find out. There's not much coming out on that front from Star Wars or Marvel. We're in for a long wait, my friends.
Yeah. So
probably people will be excited when it comes back again, though, to be fair.
For sure. Yeah. Quickly jumping over to the, we mentioned the 3-hour superhero film. Of course, I was kind of half referencing the Batman, which I was not a fan of with Robert Pattinson. Not as much of a fan.
The opera?
Yeah.
You didn't like the Bat opera?
One of the trailers in front, we're going to talk about some trailers now. One of the trailers in front of the Marvels was the new Aquaman film, which is unfortunately doesn't look bad, but it's going to get buried the week of Christmas. And obviously with all that, they had one shot of Amber Heard in the entire thing.
It was funny. She's like behind the wall screaming too.
Yeah, they're
really
really doing everything. This film is being buried by Warner Brothers because they are in a tailspin right now. And yeah, it's a shame that this movie actually looks halfway decent because it's going this is going to be a film that if we think the box office for the Marvels is bad, I am really looking forward to seeing how bad Aquaman 2's box office is because
Aquaman is super popular in China. And I think that's why they're releasing this. Yeah, I think the only reason this got made is because in China, for whatever reason, Aquaman does insane numbers.
Yeah.
So I can see why they made it. I don't think they're counting on the US being a great draw.
Yeah.
But like again, sometimes people ask, why do they make these movies? Well, China brings them billions of dollars. That's why.
Yeah.
And it's worth making if they're going to go see it. I don't understand the obsession in China with Aquaman, though. It's interesting.
I don't get it either. Something else that Warner Brothers is doing, like, I mean, just basically trying to kill films for tax write-offs. But the public outcry was so bad for this, was so angry. All the early screenings said it's one of the best things they've seen in a long time. They say they're calling it the spiritual successor to Who Framed Roger Rabbit,
which is a massive praise.
Yeah.
No I haven't heard anyone say that. They didn't say that for Space Jam.
No, definitely
massive
not.
Praise.
And it's called Coyote versus Acme. Obviously, it stars Wile E. Coyote, and it's also starring John Cena. And Warner Brothers basically killed it.
You didn't say that right.
John Cena.
Okay, now he can't see this.
Yeah,
he can't see this.
He can't see this yet. But now Warner Brothers has backtracked and said we are happy to let the filmmakers shop this elsewhere. Supposedly, there are already massive offers from Apple and Netflix possibly to get it.
Smart.
And good on them because Warner Brothers needs to stop shelving products and for tax write-offs. It used to be making good movies was the priority, not we have a good movie, let's kill it for the tax write-off. David Zaslav, by the way, the highest paid CEO in Hollywood for a company that's basically dying. This says a lot, I think, honestly, in a little bit of a microcosm. I cannot wait to see Coyote versus Acme. If it's on Netflix, I can't either. It is the one
wherever it is. Wherever it is.
Yes, wherever it is. If it goes to a theater, if Disney buys it somehow, that probably won't happen. But like,
Ray, you can come to my house if it's on a carrier that you don't have.
I will steal someone's password.
That's fine too. You can do that too. That's probably a little easier.
I mean, not that we were condoning that. Wink, wink. But yeah,
it sounds like you're condoning it.
I'm not condoning it.
When you say the wink, wink thing, it sounds like you're condoning it.
I'm not condoning it. But yeah, no, I think that this is good. I'll say this. I hope it sells for a lot of money. I hope Warner Brothers continues to suffer because this is just, you keep making stupid people need to be punished. And this is a stupid decision by stupid people over at what is becoming a very stupid company.
But look, I'm just going to say this, that Hollywood continues to showcase they are not in touch with the fan bases at all.
No.
And they probably could, go to bed going, we don't need to be in touch with them. Well, we just got that movie greenlit probably someplace else. So you probably should be in touch with your fan base. As a business owner, I can also say that's probably a good idea.
Know your audience.
At least, I'm not saying you have to listen to them.
You don't have to cater to them all the time, but know your audience.
But know your audience. When that many people are saying a movie's good, maybe they said they're shelving it on purpose so they could sell it for a lot of money. I don't know. Maybe the guy's that smart, but I doubt it.
I highly doubt it. David Zaslav has not made a good decision since he's taken over Warner Brothers, in my opinion.
Not one.
Nope. But you know what? Speaking of knowing your audience and knowing your fan base, this I've been waiting. I saved it. I changed the order of the rundown.
I noticed that you did, and I for a brief moment I was like, did he forget? I was like, he did not forget this. He did not forget this.
No, I did not forget. I just wanted to bash Warner Brothers a little bit sooner before I then made myself happy again.
Fair enough. I like where your head's at.
We got the new Ghostbusters trailer, ladies and gentlemen.
We got the new Ghostbusters
trailer.
We got one.
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. It was supposed to come out this holiday, but of course, obviously with the strike and everything got pushed to what's probably going to be a March release in 2024. You know what? Sony doesn't do much right, but boy, oh boy, does this look good. I am super excited. It looks like they are it looks like they are making episodes of the real Ghostbusters, the cartoon, and they're like, we're just gonna make movies of this. We're gonna have that
If
theme
only
and that
there
tone.
was source material we could reference.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Obviously, it's an original Ghost, but it's an elemental, right? Which we've seen before. We've seen this before in Ghostbusters lore, in the comics and in TV and whatnot. Like I said, the cartoons. It looks like it's called Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. It takes place in the hottest summer on record in New York, which kind of taking a slice out of reality there. And then suddenly, literally almost like hell freezing over, ice just crawling across Coney Island, and an ice elemental spirit, and it just I can't sing its praises enough from what I've seen. They're talking about it's the death chill. Dan Aykroyd, by the way, now is kind of like the old wise man explaining. It's like you're literally scared to death, and you're bringing in new characters, bringing Patton Oswalt and all these other new people now to kind of to flesh out, because we know that Bill and Ernie Hudson and all these guys, they can't do it forever.
Yeah, well, they're in it too, and like I said, there's other characters coming back, and there's new characters being put in, and they're expanding that universe as it should have been done.
Kumail Nanjiani has a role. I'm probably saying that wrong. I'm so sorry. But yeah, and
I bet also, Walter Peck's gonna come back in this film.
You know what? If they're doing something about the environment, wouldn't that be something?
You, he's gonna be. I just have a feeling he's gonna be in the film. Why wouldn't you?
I think it was rumored he was. I think it was
would
rumored.
Not be surprised. When I see him, I'm gonna be like, that man has no,
yes,
parts in the other films.
Yes, Lee, I just got myself a Ghostbusters costume, and now I have to get red Ghostbusters thermal wear that they showed off in the trailer.
You do.
Oh,
right out of the cartoon.
And I will sweat so much because it is never that cold here in LA.
Wait, you can come to Philly. It's cold here. And you'll be somewhat bulletproof with that thing on.
I don't know about bulletproof, but it'll definitely.
What's the worry about? Each one of us is wearing a miniature nuclear accelerator on his back. Anyway, it looks really great. Actually, it looks so great. I watched Afterlife again the other day, which was so great. I watched it. I was like, this is really good.
I have watched the trailer probably 50 times now.
Yeah.
And also seeing it in front of Ms. Marvel or the Marvels.
It's brilliant.
It was amazing on the big screen. I cannot wait for this movie. This is my most entirely anticipated movie of the year. I am looking forward to this more than Deadpool 3.
Yeah. No, listen, it's a property from our childhood again that's coming back. If there's any
in a good way.
I don't agree with superhero fatigue, but it is nice to see something different, right, than DC, Marvel, or Star Wars out there. And Ghostbusters is like another one of those, because Indiana Jones did not fulfill that role. No. This looks like they figured it out. They know what they're doing. They're handing off the torch. They got the original characters in there the right way. I love that the kids are the Ghostbusters. I love it.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. It's like it's the direction movies should be going.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And this is the thing that they should have just done with the 2016 film. Just do a passing of the torch. I didn't have a problem that it was an all-lady Ghostbuster team. I had a problem that you made a whole new universe. You didn't need a new universe.
Yeah, you didn't need a new universe. It's also the problem with the Star Wars sequels. It's like we saw what The Mandalorian did. Like, that was the story. You didn't have to remake Star Wars.
Yeah, you didn't have. Just continue what you've already done. Yeah. Keep it going.
It's like not for improv. You. The film's not for you. It's not for you. It's for the kids. It can be for both.
Yes.
Ghostbusters just proved that.
You're on.
Yes, Ray. Blood pressure.
Yeah.
We got one.
Yeah, no. Thank goodness. Ghostbusters looking amazing. Switching now from video games from movies to video games. Obviously, on the heels of the very successful Mario Brothers film that came out this year, Nintendo has been doing what a lot of folks. There've been a lot of like fan projects over the years and like trailers and mock trailers. And we're gonna do something special with this with the mashup later in the week. Stay tuned for that. But it has been officially announced by Nintendo that they have begun work on a screenplay for a live action Legend of Zelda film. Lee, I am cautiously optimistic about this The live action part is what worries me. What are your thoughts on a Legend of Zelda movie? Yeah.
Ray, I am ready for this movie. I've waited for over 30 years, for this film to bring me to my tears, Ray, it's dangerous to go alone. Please take this film so we can see Lincoln alive. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I'm going to stop it after this part. Anyway, hey, whoa, calm down there, phone. Calm down there. Okay, listen, I'm really excited. If it's done right, it's going to be great. I think you could open up a whole Zelda universe or Link universe. I'm excited to hear about it. I think it's well overdue. I think the timing is right now. I think an audience could handle that. 20 years ago, there's no way you could have made this film effectively. It would have been silly. But I think with technology today, if there's good writing, you can make something really special here. And I hope that they do. I really do. So we'll see what happens. I have nothing else to say from that, other than that our mashup this week is going to be based in the Legend of Zelda live action film. You are not going to want to miss it, because the question we're going to ask has to do with sports and Zelda combining together. That's going to be coming out this Saturday. So make sure you look for that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I am excited for this. I am hopeful for this because they did do such a good job with the Mario Brothers film. My other question, Lee, what Zelda are they going to do? Or is it going to be an original story?
I have no idea. I mean, this is the thing. You could go so many different ways with it. I think what's going to happen is Miss Marvel is going to open up a multiverse. And no, look, this is what
Wolverine's going to cut up the Triforce into 8 pieces.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they're going to do it right, you do the Triforce. They haven't done the Triforce in a long time. But there's so many different ways you could go. I mean, I think you have to keep it kind of somewhat similar. It's got to be a little more modern, because Zelda can't just be the damsel in distress. Right. She has to be the strong princess that she is.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see where they go with this. But I mean, there's nothing to predate it, so they're not going to just assume you know everything.
Well,
right?
And I think that's
if
why,
it's Lord of the Rings style, that's what I would do. I would do it like a Lord of the Rings style film.
You could do that, like you said. I mean, that's the thing too. You could have it be another chapter in the timeline.
You could,
like, every game takes place somewhere else, and you could have it be like, now the film fits here.
Excuse me, princess.
Maybe the film will finally connect one of the timelines to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Right. There's a lot of different ways they can go with this. It just can't be silly. I think you have to do it kind of like Narnia, Lord of the Rings. I mean, have fun with it. We'll see where it goes.
So 7 parts, each 3 hours long.
Right, with multiple links.
Multiple links.
And there's going to be a 24-minute scene where he goes fishing.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Yes.
My gut would be this, right? Since you've asked me, this is my gut with this Zelda live action film. I think they will probably have some element of time travel where young Link goes to the future, like Ocarina of Time. I think Sheik will be a character. I think that they're going to have to uncover that Zelda needs him to travel through time to save Hyrule. That's what I would do. Keep it with what works. Make Ocarina of Time. You can make that into a great film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, I would more go to A Link to the Past,
or that's another great one. Yeah.
You could, or again, you could do Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom if you want to stick with your stronger Zelda. You could use what
works.
And my fear is they're going to do something like Skyward Sword, just because that will establish the Master Sword. But
yeah, I think from a storytelling point of view, Link to the Past is obviously the best. But I could just say like Zelda and Sheik, who are the same person. Spoiler. Yes. You know, that's a strong character. Yeah, that's what I think people should look at.
25-year-old spoiler. So
yes, just in case you didn't know, we are way past our spoiler rules on that one.
Yes. Also, just real quick, we having a lot of comments on the YouTube page. We appreciate everybody watching on YouTube, by the way. And our buddy Matt Cavalieri was very much on board with our geek laws from a couple of weeks ago.
Know thy laws, geekdom.
Yes.
Know them and practice them, or you will go to the gauntlet where you will face off against Ray Rage, because you have said something bad about the Yankees, which was what we have told him, which is why he is coming after you. Heed the laws.
Yes, heed them and heed them well. And so that should be. So yeah, wanted to mention that. And actually, we've had a very Lee. You want to go over the comments real quick on YouTube, because we've had a very, very active comment section.
Ray, are you asking me to bring up the comments on YouTube? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I have them here listed. The ones that
then please read them, because I'd have to bring them up on my phone and I'd have to stall for a few minutes to do that, which we're very good at doing. But if you have them there, I would appreciate that.
No, for sure. I just want to mention a couple of weeks ago, we did a mashup of what superhero would ask for their cape to be retired. Our buddy Matt Cavalieri, because we mentioned Booster Gold again, go check that one out. He mentioned Peacemaker.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one we missed.
Yeah, Peacemaker for sure. He said maybe Thor as well, but Adam Kunos mentioned Thor as well, possibly would want that because his ego's at least early Thor had an ego on that. So good suggestions there. So Adam said Thor, Matt said Peacemaker. I think Peacemaker is a very good one from Matt.
Yeah, it's I'm gonna say it again. We missed that one. That's how I responded to that.
Yes, no, absolutely. What sports team would make the ultimate video game? Again, Adam mentioned the 90s Bulls, the 6-peat, the buildup in the late 80s, beating Detroit, all that, the 2-year quest without Jordan to come back to the top. And he said it would go on a Dreamcast. So that was a great comment. Let's see. Alex Acosta wanted to know specifically, he asked us because we talked about the Major League Baseball season being short and how many regular season games it should be. I think we came up with something on the show, but I'm going to say here 145.
Right.
I came up with the math somewhere a couple of weeks ago because I saw this comment.
Yeah, it made sense.
Yeah. I think we can cut it down by the season by a couple of weeks. And also Matt Cavalieri also wanted to mention, he wants us to mention that the Canucks are doing very, very well for him.
They are.
And
this is true.
Talk about hockey and but nobody cares.
Hockey's coming. It's just a little early in the season.
It's very early. My Rangers are keeping me from being depressed because everybody else in New York sucks. But the Rangers are very good, 11-2-1. So yeah, wanted to do a quick little mailbag section there, kind of throw it in on the fly because I want to show. We do read the comments. We do read them. We don't always. Yes, we do read them. We don't see them. We don't always comment, but I also want you guys to know that we do read them and we do see them and we do greatly, greatly appreciate them. Real quick, last story here as we're getting into we mentioned the end of the year a couple of times. We're getting to that point now. We mentioned the holiday season. The Game Awards are in 3 weeks. Usually that's a big time for reveals and previews and trailers to get people hyped up for 2024. Last story of the day. Rockstar is finally ready to announce the next Grand Theft Auto, and they said they will do it right around their 25th anniversary in December.
Yeah, it's going to make billions of dollars.
It will make billions upon billions of dollars. But Lee, I'm going to ask you this. Is it going to be a proper GTA 6? Or is it going to maybe be something like Vice City 2?
No, it's got to be a full-out new GTA 6. They're well overdue.
I think so,
the new technology. There's no reason not to do it.
It's been like 12 years since GTA 5.
Yeah. If this is like not a full new game, they've made a drastic mistake. Now I think it will cater heavily to how people mod this game now. And I think they're going to bank on that. So I would not be surprised if the main storyline is very short, but it's going to be a brand new game.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's been 10 years since GTA 5, but again, it's not being released now, so it'll probably be 11 or 12 by the time that game finally does drop.
Yeah, so. And that's good on them for realizing you don't have to make a new game every year to be successful.
No, just keep porting it to new systems every generation, and people will keep buying it for some reason.
Right. Well, it's fun. It's a world they get to live.
It is a fun world, but you know me, I if I spend 100 hours on a game nowadays, that's a long time. So because I'm always on to the next one.
That's true.
I'm like the Jay-Z song says, on to the next one, on to the next one. He's talking about something very different from video games, and that's perfectly fine.
What's he talking about? Right? What's he talking about, right?
That does it for this week's episode of Geeks Who Like Sports. Everybody really appreciate it. No, seriously though, this was a great week as always. We really appreciate everybody who hung out with us. We got a mashup coming. Got my special review of the Iron Claw coming, and plus other stuff throughout the week as well.
Make sure to tune in for that mashup and make sure to jump in that giveaway.
Yes. Don't forget about the giveaway as well. Like Lisa, go to the Instagram page, GWLS Podcast on Instagram. Follow us, like us, share, all that fun stuff.
All that fun stuff. Next time on Geeks.
Roll out.
Let's roll out.
But yes, on that note, though, for Lee, I am Ray, and this has been Geeks Who Like Sports, Season 2, Episode 7. We'll see you all next time, everybody. Good night.